They say the American market is a gold mine for European entrepreneurs, but how do you stand out in the competitive landscape? I'm Christina Rubafe-Broaddus, the American Market Alchemist, and I believe that anyone can write their U.S. success story to amplify their influence and scale their impact beyond the borders of their home market. In this podcast, you'll hear inspiring stories and practical advice from American market experts and European entrepreneurs who are making an impact in the U.S. Tune in each week for a dose of motivation and tactical tips to build your influence and visibility in the world's largest market so you stand out, attract more clients, and turn your European business into American gold. Now, let's dive in. In this episode of the American Market Alchemist, I'm talking to special guest Thibault Brioland, who is the CEO and co-founder of Humanlinker, which is personalized prospecting reinvented with AI. Very interesting conversation, because the product is super interesting for anyone who is trying to build their business, and that means prospecting, but also because they are doing some exciting things in the US. They're going to be expanding even more into the US probably in the next year. And we're going to talk about, what influenced their decision to go after US customers, the challenges that they faced when they were doing that, the differences in marketing to their American prospects versus to their European prospects, and also the value of leveraging networks and investors who are in the US, but who are from your home country, in this case, France for Thibault, so leveraging all the French networks that are already in the US. Very exciting episode, very interesting conversation. I hope that you'll get a lot out of it. And let's go ahead and dive into this interview with Thibault Brioland from Humanlinker. Welcome back to another episode of the American Market Alchemist, where my mission is to share the success stories of European entrepreneurs doing great things in the US market, among other things. And today I'm here with Thibault Brioland of Humanlinker. Thibault is the CEO and co-founder of Humanlinker, which is all about personalized prospecting reinvented with AI. Which actually sounds like something I need to look into just for my own business. So we might have to talk about that as well. Anyway, Thibault, very happy to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for the invitation, Christina.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I saw that you guys are doing a lot of interesting things in the US. We met up at Vivatech in Paris, had a little chat about what you guys are doing in the US market. A lot of exciting things that we're going to be talking about. And so, maybe just to start off, could I ask you to tell us a little bit about you and your company?
Of course. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Humanlinker. I'm 31 years old. I'm French, and Humanlinker is a European sales tech based in France. We are actually a bit more than 10 people in the company. We raised 4 million euros since the beginning of our journey, and
congratulations.
Thanks. It's only the beginning, but we invested a lot of money into our technology with bridging data and generative AI to enable the sales performance. And basically, we are using all this technology to help salespeople better interact with their potential leads and potential customer. And the word we are using, it's personalization, so we are using personalization at scale. And so I have a sales background before Humanlinker. So I jumped in the sales ecosystem in 2011. I was a salespeople in door to door. I was selling doors, shutters, and stuff like that in the north of France. So it was pretty hard.
I can imagine.
Interesting for me. So it was like the sales school, but separated. And after, so I made a business school, but I did everything in apprenticeship. I worked in different companies between my studies. first as the first salespeople in the marketing tech startup, and then at Mercedes-Benz France. So all the time working on the marketing things and the tech, and it was very helpful for me for this current situation, because I used to prospect a lot since my 18 years old, and actually the big topic that we are tackling at Humanlinker, it's personalized prospecting with AI. So when I worked as a sales rep, I felt the pain about prospecting, about searching a lot of information about the prospect, how to be more impactful when during the outreach, etc. And so after the business school, I had the chance to work in a very ambitious company. It was a hat tech company, also in the US, with an office in San Francisco and Paris. I was part of the 10 first employees of the company. When I left the company, we were like 50. It was very growing fast development, and so it helped me to understand how to run a business, how to deploy the business, not only in France but in an international way. And after that, I took a break to travel a bit in the US, in Australia, in Asia, and I started to wonder about my future adventure, and to work as a revenue expert for a venture capital firm. And after 6 months of developing my company, I had the opportunity to create another company. And it was Humanlinker, because I worked for a Swiss venture capital firm, and the founding partner of the fund introduced me to Régis, my actual partner, because he was also one of the best partner of the venture capital firm for all the tech developments, all the things. So we had the engineering team, the investment funds, and the go-to-market team, because in my company, I worked with 3-4 people dedicated to the go-to-market. And so it was at the beginning of the COVID crisis, and we were wondering about the future of sales, how to use AI to improve sales performance with a more qualitative way of working with personalization. And so it was at the beginning only just a side project. But actually, it's not the side project anymore, because I'm 300% involved in the project. And it was the beginning of the journey, and it was pretty exciting. And
Okay, no, but it sounds very exciting, and it's really interesting to see how your background, it sounds like you've done a little bit of everything that is necessary to really do prospection really well. You've been out there in the trenches with the door to store sales, which, by the way, I don't know which company you were working for, but I about a year ago replaced my door on my apartment. And I got it from the guy literally coming and knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, we sell, reinforced doors. Are you interested?" And I was like, "You're right at the right moment, because that's what I'm looking for one." So it can work. I'm sure you probably had about 1 million rejections before you got a client, but that's part of prospecting. It's getting out there and it's knocking on a bunch of doors, literally or virtually, and trying to find the right ones. And if you guys can make it easier to, I would say, find the right ones and to do that in a personalized way, then that is definitely going to be a very valuable service for a lot of businesses, I think. So yeah, congratulations on coming up with that idea. Yeah,
of course. And I was already involved in the personalized way of prospecting and selling. Because to give a quick tip to the audience,
please do.
so I was knocking the door, and if there is nobody at inside the house,
Yeah.
I the name of the owner,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the day, I take les pages blanches in
Yeah.
French,
Yeah.
identify the name and identify the phone number, and during the prospecting session, I took information about the house, about like some
Mm.
information I can identify
Yeah.
in order to personalize my cold calling session. And
Nice.
then it was very interesting for me to be very different from other like call centers
Yeah.
and other sales rep who doesn't see any like information about
Yeah.
the house, etc. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
was interesting to use this kind of technique. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I used to prospect a lot. And when you feel the pain, I think it's better to create a company. And because you already identify the pain, live the pain, and
Mm.
of course you want to find the right solution.
Right. Yeah. Find the solution for yourself and for other people. And then you can turn it into a business, which is, I feel like is the best kind of business. Cause like you said, you felt that pain, you identified it and you said, well, I'm surely not the only one with this pain. So let me fix it. Right.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned, a lot of work in the travel in the US and internationally. And I know that you guys, like we said, you've got customers in the US already. Now, two questions here. Was that intentional? Like, did you set out and say, we want to go and get American customers? Or was there some kind of trigger that you saw an opportunity and you said, hey, let's go in this direction because there's this opportunity? How did you make that decision to get those US customers?
Yeah. I think to answer to the question first, I think it's based on like market maturity, because we are working on big data and AI, and I think like 16 months ago it wasn't the same maturity in Europe as in the US.
Right.
That's why for us we started now. So we didn't start it with the US, because first we created our entire platform connected to the CRM system, because I think it's interesting to go back to the beginning of the project. So we created a platform connected to the CRM system like HubSpot, Salesforce, but it was difficult for us to deploy this technology internationally, because you need to focus on like less than 500 employees companies.
Okay.
You don't have any certification for to connect to this CRM system, etc.
Right.
Why? Like in January 2023, we decided we make a big decision to create a part of our products available directly on internet, 24 hours on 24, 7 days per week, and available without any CRM system connection.
Okay.
Because so it's called like the product-led sales motion, PLG, and so the product is available in self-service, and that's why because in the same time we bought a company dedicated to disc personality analysis, and disc is is well known in the US, because it's like a well-used framework for understand personality, etc. So that's why we started to deploy the technology with the product-led motion, and because of the disc as well, and the higher maturity about AI topics, and as well the quality of the copywriting engine we built, because it was better on the English language. And so that's why 1 year ago we launched the products on the market, and the first focus was the US. So we worked with American influencers. We were very well positioned in the ranking, sales technologies ranking, etc. Create awareness in the US, and yeah, to find the first customers.
Yeah. Okay. No, very interesting. And actually, yeah, you mentioned how you became known to your clients in the US. And I think that that's a question that a lot of the people that I work with have is, all right, I'm going into this market. It's a huge market. There's a ton of competition. How do I stand out? And so you mentioned that you worked with influencers. Were there any other strategies or techniques? How did you guys get in front of your American prospects? How did you become visible to them?
Yeah, I think we are working on two different strategies. So first,
Mm,
it's product-led motion. So it's
yeah.
like automatic customers who paid with credit cards, etc. There is no meetings, no sales
Mm,
interactions, etc. So first, to be very impactful on this sales motion, you need to be very visible on the
yeah.
internet. So
Right.
like LinkedIn influence is very powerful to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware on the sales technologies ranking is very interesting as well.
Yeah.
So we also invested money in the paid ads,
Okay.
like LinkedIn ads, etc. But the costs are was too high for us
Mm, sure.
because we are, of course, monitoring like the cost of acquisition
Right.
of the leads, etc. So it was too expensive for us. So
Yeah.
we decided to stop to invest money in paid ads for the moment in the
Mm,
US. And LinkedIn influence was the best for us to create awareness
yeah.
on Humanlinker and to attract some potential user. In the same time, we worked on the outbound sales motion
Mm-hmm.
using first our technology, of
Right.
course,
Yeah.
to be to interact with potential customer in the US, and it was a completely different targeting because
Mm,
targeting like head of sales, VP of sales of companies like from 10 to 100 sales rep in the company
okay.
using HubSpot or Salesforce. And
Okay.
it was like a different way of working because the main goal was to get a meeting
Yeah.
and to sign biggest contract than the product-led motion. So
Right. Okay.
we tried the two different techniques and motion, and actually in the US the product led is very performing at the moment because
Mm,
we don't have like a big sales team to deploy for the moment big deals in the
right.
US, and we need to be very focused. So
Mm,
so the PLG motion is very global with a big
right.
focus on US and UK
Sure.
because the markets are very mature as well. And
Mm,
for the sales-led motion in 2024, we are really focused on like 85% on Europe, 15% on the US, and it
mm.
will be completely different in 2025
Okay.
because, as you know, we are looking to raise funds
Yeah.
to expand our business in the US. But I think we're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about, yeah, the plans for the fundraising and expanding business. But I would say before we look into the future, we're going to stay a little bit in the past here. And what were some of the challenges that you faced when, you know, going into the US, trying to get those American customers, getting visible in front of them, getting their attention, getting the meetings? Yeah, what were some of the challenges that the American market presented for you and your team?
I think the biggest challenge is the size of the market because
Mm,
you need to identify your ideal customer profile, the personas, and it could be completely different from the PLG perspective to the sales perspective because it's
mm,
very different.
right, yeah.
For example, if you want to try and to find product-led users and customers, it's better to target, for example, small business owners, decision makers who have the credit cards in the hand,
Yeah.
instead of sales rep who can create the account, try the product, but they cannot pay with the
Mm,
credit card because that don't have the access to
Right.
the company credit cards, etc., etc. So
Mm.
I think it was first like the targeting because the market is very big. So that's why we started to identify the best cities for us for the LinkedIn ad strategy and the Google ad
Mm.
strategy to focus on very specific cities as,
Yeah.
for example, New York, Boston, Austin, a bit on LA and San Francisco, for
Yeah.
example. So we invested, of course, less money in Miami, Atlanta, etc.
Mm.
Because of the sales rep repartition inside the country. So we
Okay.
identify these kind of things and the company size, etc., in the different cities.
Right.
Of course, it was better for us to invest money inside like tech cities, of course.
Sure.
Um, and so I think it was, yes, the first challenge. The second one, it was the cost of acquisition, very high
Mm.
with LinkedIn ads. That's why we decided to stop and to invest money in more powerful acquisition channels.
Mm. Right.
And as well, one of the big challenge, I think, it's to identify the best influencers who
Mm.
doesn't work with our main competitors in the US, because we
Right.
have a competitor in the US.
Yeah.
Not so much in Europe, to be honest, but in the
Okay.
US we have like five,
Yeah.
6 main competitors. But the market is it's very big.
Right.
So to identify the right influencers who share the same values, and also
Mm.
to talk about the company, about the brand, about the values that we are bringing to the market.
Right.
It's not very easy to do. And I think there is a lot of scam in this industry as well.
Sure.
Because, okay, you have, I don't know, 500 likes on the post or
Yeah.
50 comments, but it could generate zero in terms of revenue.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. That's why we started to invest, to try, to test and learn a lot of things there. And to be honest, since the beginning of the year,
Mm-hmm.
I have the chance to be advised by Emmanuel Benoliel, who is
Mm.
the previous chief marketing officer at Aircall,
Yeah.
and she was in charge of the US expansion at Aircall,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
made a good job.
Yeah.
And
I might have to get her onto the podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
can make the
Put us
COVID.
in contact. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
so that's why, yeah, I think we have like a good advisor, investor to help us to expand our business there. And
Mm.
the market is very reactive to our
Right.
offer, to be honest.
Right.
So yeah.
And do you feel like it's the market is more reactive in the US versus here in France or Europe in general, or no real difference?
I think the best things in the US, it's that on the sales-led motion,
Mm.
the velocity of the sales cycle is uh, two time
Like twice as fast,
yeah,
perhaps?
as
Mm.
fast as in Europe.
Okay,
Uh,
right.
in France, of course.
Mm.
So I think it's one of the main interesting things about the US, because like the level of maturity of
Right.
decision makers are higher than in France, of course.
Mm.
Less fear about making mistakes as well, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best things in the US, because
Mm.
they are able to take risk, try things, and to test and learn, etc. But in France, most of the time it could be difficult. A lot of people involved in the deal. You need to
Mm. Yeah.
and to talk with 100% at the
Right.
company to sign the deal, etc. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting to work with American people. Uh,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's true. That's something that I often hear from, the entrepreneurs that I've interviewed who are in the US or going into the US. And that's one of the key advantages that they mention, they say, well, here we show up, we do our sales pitch, the guy decide or the woman decides, all right, let's try it out. And the decision can go very quickly. They said, but the flip side of that is also the decision to stop working together can also go very quickly. But basically it comes down to things just happen faster. And at least that way, if you're going in the right direction or not, compared to maybe, and I work with companies here in France and Europe. And so I know the 18-month sales cycle where you've got to meet with one person, then meet with another person, then meet with 5 other person. They've got to all meet together and they get back. And it's just a much longer decision process, right?
Yeah. To be honest, for startup like us, it could be very boring, because it's start and stop all the time. That's why
right.
we are working on the product-led motion, because it would be possible to earn cash directly with users, etc., with a very, very small decision process, because it's automatic decision process. You create the account, you try the part of the product, and then you're going to decide if you're going to buy or try or not. And I think it's complementary, and I think actually inside the SaaS ecosystem, it's one of the biggest and more important decision to have like the 2 different models, both PLG and sales-led motion, because of the problematic of the cash of the runway.
Exactly. You've got to get the cash in, either through getting in those clients or raising funds, but you've got to get that cash so that you can get it out there. And then also maybe start developing, maybe starting with something smaller and easier access. And that might not be where you want to go finally. That's maybe not your final destination, but it's the way that it helps you to take off so that you can continue working towards the final destination. So, you mentioned something about, so the CEO, I think it was of Aircall, who was advising you. And I know that earlier you mentioned, before we started recording this podcast, that you're working with a lot of French entrepreneurs and French networks in the US, networks, investors, advisors, things like this. In your opinion, what is the value of, let's say, a French entrepreneur? We'll take this as an example. French entrepreneur looking to the US and reaching out to these French networks, these French connections, let's say, in the US to help them get their business off the ground.
I think first, I think it's important to understand that when you are creating a company, you need to interact with people who already made the job in France and everywhere in the world. And the most important thing is to identify and to don't reproduce mistakes already made.
Learn from others' mistakes, or instead of making them yourself, right?
Of course, and most of the time it could be dangerous because you're gonna meet people who don't have the startup experiences and only worked with inside a big corporation, etc. So they didn't feel the market and they didn't know how to create a product. So they have like the vision how it works, but if it could be very dangerous to listen this kind of advices. So one of the best things we made at Humanlinker is to work with business angels, because at the capital actually we have 2 different investment funds and 35 business angels, all as veterans, previous CEO of very prestigious tech companies, etc. And it's very interesting because it's helped us to avoid some mistakes on the market. And of course, when you want to expand your business in foreign countries, as the US, it could be interesting to understand. Because for example, if you receive advice from an American founders, it's not the same. It's not the same reality
Yeah.
as a foreigner, you know. So,
Yeah.
for example, if you had a career in Paris during, I don't know, 20 years, and one day you take your luggage and you go to New York City to deploy
Yeah.
your business. It's not the same if you are an American citizen and you go from San Francisco to New York. You know,
Right. Yeah.
you don't have the same network. It's not the same language, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. So I think
Right.
it's interesting to receive this kind of advices to avoid
Mm.
mistakes and to have like a network of foreigners in the US and yeah, to benefits from
Mm.
help from networks, etc., etc. But
Right.
I think when you are founders and you want to expand the business, you need to both interact with foreigners,
Yeah.
French, German people, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
but with local people as well. You know,
Yeah.
I think
Get.
it's
Yeah.
the entire strategy works.
Yeah, right. It's sort of like taking the best of all of the worlds. And like you said, if you're a foreign entrepreneur going into the US, it's interesting to have the experience of other foreign entrepreneurs because they face specific challenges. There's the question of cultural differences and how do you understand and how do you interpret certain actions or certain reactions from American clients or American investors, and if you're looking at the behavior of the Americans through your French eyes and your French culture, you may misinterpret that, and that can create big mistakes in your decisions. Where if you have someone who's able to almost decipher or decode and say, well, this is what they said, but from my experience, this is what it really means, and this is what you need to be careful of, then that can be, just very insightful and super helpful for helping you to understand, what are the codes? How do I play this game in a country, in a language, in a culture that is foreign to me, but that I really want to make it in? And so how are these networks, how have they helped you in the past, or how are they helping you? Are there any, I guess if you want to name drop any people or networks that could be useful for the listeners?
Yeah, so I'm in interaction with French founders, for example.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
French founder. I'm gonna join the ecosystem very soon
Okay,
because I'm
great.
already participating
I've
during
got
the
to,
big at the
yeah.
at the launch of French founders, and some of our actual investors are part of this network.
Okay. I've got a couple
For
of
me,
clients in French founders, actually, I
yeah,
think. So yeah,
yeah,
it's a good network.
yeah, of course.
Mm.
And in the same time, we have Stan Coignard, the former
Mm.
the US CEO of S4M, as
Right.
Flocka, with the president of the French Tech in Miami.
Yeah. Yep.
We have also Nicolas Cazeneuve, previous CEO of Easy Movie based in
Mm.
San Francisco. There he is providing us a lot of advices about US expansion, about entrepreneurship, uh,
Mm.
and is very helpful. In the same time, we have Johan Stern, French entrepreneur in California as well, president of the French Tech in LA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the chance to receive a lot of advices from this kind of experienced people. And in the same time, I talk about Emmanuelle. She wasn't the CEO, but she was the CMO, Chief Marketing
Okay. CMO. Right. Yeah.
of Aircall, and she was in charge of US expansion because, as you probably know, Aircall it's a French company,
Yeah.
but very active in the US. I think with the biggest part of its turnover in the US on the
Mm.
markets. That's why Emmanuel deep dive a lot in the US markets to identify the different marketing channel to
Yeah.
invest on, etc., etc. So it's very helpful for me to um, to drive how we are working with marketing actually, and
Mm.
invest money at the good time on the good channels inside the good countries. Because
Mm.
as we discussed, US expansion is very expensive,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot,
Very
and
costly.
so yeah, so I think so that's why we need to invest money at the best time.
Right.
And I think it's important to avoid big mistakes.
Yeah, and avoid burning all your cash before
Yeah.
you get the cash in. And yeah, you mentioned about, marketing to American clients. And I don't know, are there any major differences that you have noticed in terms of the way that maybe you're going to be marketing to your clients here in Europe versus the way that you market to your clients in the US?
Yes, I think customer testimonials it's very impactful and very useful in the same time, because
Yeah.
most of the time in the US it's very focused on KPI metrics and use cases with customer from the same industry, etc. To be honest, it's of course the same in Europe, because at the moment it's more difficult than ever to sign a deal if you don't have any references
Yeah.
and return of investments.
Yeah.
But I think in the US it's the maximum of impact about this kind of return of investment
Yeah.
measurement.
Okay, right. So very, very, very concrete and very, very measurable
Yeah.
benefits, let's say. So yeah, it's not enough just to say we've got this great thing and we're the best and we're, all this marketing, blah, 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 let's say. You've got to have the numbers to back up what you're saying, and that's going to make the difference. Yeah.
And I
Right.
think, for example, because at Humanlinker we are really focused on like the reply rates in outbound,
Yeah.
because very very low due to the over solicitation of decision makers. And for example, when you ask to European people or French people like the reply rate in his outbound strategy, you're gonna have this kind of answer. I don't know. I don't measure the reply rates. I only measure the open rate. I know it's not very high, but and when you talk to an American people, say,
Yeah.
okay, my reply rate is 1%. Is shit. I want to try solution. And I think it's two different way of working. It's more direct for American people. They are recognizing the failures and not the French people most of the time,
Yeah, very, very interesting insight. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like, what's your sales rate or what's your response rate or whatever. Yeah, like you said, he's going to be honest. He's like, yeah, it's 1%. It's crap. That's why I'm talking to you, because I want to fix this problem.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in admitting that it's a poor performance, because you're working on improving that performance.
Yeah.
And that's what counts. You don't have to be good from the start, but you have to get started and then improve from there. Whereas I do agree that, yes, that sometimes it's perhaps here in France, we're more hesitant to admit that we're doing something and it's failing.
Yeah.
Even if, because we want it to succeed, of course, but there's maybe a little less stigma or shame to say, hey, I'm doing this. It's not working, but I'm trying to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And so what are your plans for the future in the US? Because I know you guys are expanding. You're doing some really exciting things coming up.
Yeah.
What's in the future for Humanlinker in the US?
So first, we're going to invest more money inside for marketing from September to December to try new marketing strategies in order to win new potential opportunities there. Focus on the product-led motion. I'm gonna put my head of sales as the international leaders in charge of US expansion to continue to find potential opportunities, but with a really laser focus on very specific ICP, not the biggest company of the market, because we already, for example, invested money inside a US certification. It's called SOC 2. And it's very important for data protection, etc., privacy. So we already invested money in this kind of certification, and for the US expansion. So I'm gonna put my head of sales on this international growth at the end of the year, And I think one of the biggest and most important things for us is gonna be like the office opening during the first quarter of 2025. I think it would be possible to put our luggage in New York.
Okay.
New York or Miami, I don't know, because I think it's easier for us to work in the East Coast for the moment because of the of the market, because of the different time slots, etc.
It's only a 6-hour difference from East Coast to France. Much easier than California, which is a 9-hour difference, and it makes it hard. It
would be difficult. So to keep the same interaction between the teams, etc. Because in my previous experience, I had this opportunity to talk with colleagues in the West Coast, etc. It's difficult to find time to be in interaction. So I think it's gonna be the best opportunity for us. I don't know if it's gonna be all year long in the US or not, but of course we're gonna put some people, both European people and American people, in the field for us at Humanlinker. It could be probably New York City, but first of all, I think the next challenge for us to deploy this strategy in the US is to close the next fundraising round at the end of the year. So we want to raise between $7 to $15 million dollars with US or UK investment funds. Of course, it's better for us. So I think we need to earn more cash from customers and more cash from investment funds in order to have the amount of money to invest in this kind of big markets. Because you can, if you don't have enough budget to do it, it could be difficult to make the difference between the other competitors. So we have several milestones
to achieve, to hit between now and then.
Strategy.
Yeah, right. No, very interesting. And I've got, if you're interested, I've got, if you're kind of hesitating between New York and Florida, I've got 2 people who are in charge of attracting businesses to both New York and to Florida. I can put you in touch with those 2 people, and maybe they can help you make the decision of where you want to go. Yeah, sure. I'll put you in contact with those people. Right. Okay. Thibault, thank you very much for sharing your adventure all the way from knocking door to door to sell doors, all the way now to maybe looking at opening up your first offices in the US. Congratulations on that journey. Very impressive. And I'll be looking forward to seeing what your next steps in your US adventure look like.
Yeah. Thanks, Christina, for the invitation.
Right.
See you soon.
My pleasure. See ya. Bye. Thanks for listening to the American Market Alchemist podcast. If you're ready to amplify your influence and scale your impact in the U.S. market, become a member of my newsletter community. You'll get weekly tips on LinkedIn strategy, personal branding, and digital marketing to write your U.S. success story. The link to get the newsletter is in the show notes. I'm Christina Robefé-Broaddus, and I'll talk to you next time.